happy. Oh my God, we're live. I love it. I had a conversation today, ladies, with another lady, and I've decided that I'm going to invest in a soundboard so that when I do the intros, I can have the applause sound. I can have the applause sound. All right, we're gonna get the comments. All right, you guys. Hello, and welcome to the TUF Woman roundtable. I'm trying to get my intro there. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. This is, I think, the 5th roundtable, and I'm really happy to continue to see this growing, this thing. And I'm really excited that I have maxed out this roundtable. I'm so appreciative to all you ladies coming on here. Like, this is freaking awesome. I love the energy that comes with this and the conversation. So, and I'm really excited to dive into this subject. So my hope is that men will watch this, or we'll get those men that are like, oh God, they're just gonna like bash us. And that is not the case, you guys. But I did have some gentlemen go, man, if you could just tell us, like, if you get some ladies on there and talk about what's the right way to approach women, especially in 2020, especially after like the Me Too movement and all this other stuff, where it's kind of not the best idea all the time to just approach a woman out of nowhere on the side of the road. I always joke, like, with me, that's a quick way for you to get tased, because I keep a taser in my purse, and if you just like approach me out of nowhere, I might tase you. Not so you guys, I'm just really excited. So as you guys come in, say hey, let us know where you're coming from. If you're coming from YouTube or if you are coming from Facebook, let us know. And as always, please make sure to interact, ask lots of questions. This is your table as well. So I always like to say, make sure you pull your seat up as well and join in on this conversation, because these are conversations for everybody to have. And I believe that by bringing all of our voices to the table, that's how we're going to have them. So without further ado, and to get this going, I'm going to drop into my epic intro, and I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves, and we are going to get started on topic. So hello and welcome to the TUF Woman Roundtable, everybody. This is the table where I invite some amazing people to pull up a seat to the table and join together in creating epic conversation. At TUF Woman, I believe that all people have the power within themselves to live life authentically, free from fear, confident in who they are, and empowered to live a life that sets their soul on fire. I also believe that by one person showing up in their power, we give other people permission to step into their own power, thus giving us the opportunity to rise together. Through this joined rising, that we move ourselves and humanity forward to a more beautiful way of living and being. So you guys, pull up a seat, tune in, and join us as we create epic conversations that move and remind everyone of how truly powerful we are within. So, oh my gosh, I had to write
that's a lot.
I know. I had to write a whole new intro. So I'm going to like go back and look at it, but you know, we're rolling with it. So you guys, I'm going to introduce myself first, then we're going to counterclockwise with Christine first, and we're going to dive into this. And before anybody, if anybody's wondering, the topic is what women wish men knew and all the other things we don't always say. So men, in case you're wondering, this is not us bashing you. This is a way for women, for us to show what we have been through and what it is that we would love for men to know. Especially if you are a single man and you want to talk to a woman about dating or just approaching a woman in general. These are probably some good things. So you guys, I'm going to start with myself and then we'll go. My name is Ashley Ingram. I am an unfuckwithable women's coach. So I help female entrepreneurs get out of their head and stop falling into the same cycles of self-sabotage, procrastination, and just that shiny object syndrome that they fall into that really keeps them from moving forward in business and life. So I do that, and I'm also the host of this wonderful table as well as the TUF Woman podcast. So I am really excited to continue showing up in this space and facilitating conversations with amazing people and helping women as a whole move forward in this world. So Christine?
Hi, everyone. Christine Alexander, aka the Blue Collar Female. I own a couple of businesses, actually 3. I have Blue Collar Female LLC, and that business is about supporting women in business. I focus a lot on moms that work from home and how hard we work that we don't get credit for. On top of our everyday job of being a mom, we're adding the added stress of our 20 to 40 hour a week job. If we're lucky, it's only 20 to 40 hours a week, but trying to take care of yourself, making sure that you put yourself as a priority. I also, part of the business model, I'm developing a business that allows women who do work from home ability to be a part of a package that gives them benefits by being part of the being a member of the LLC. That's still in the works. I also own a bookkeeping firm, and my husband and I own a construction company.
Awesome. All right, Misha, your turn.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for having me here tonight. It's such an honor, and to join all of these beautiful, powerful women. I'm so grateful to be here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Sure can.
Okay, awesome. I've been having some internet issues today. So anyway, yeah, I'm just super grateful to be here. Again, my name is Misha. I am the creator of the Courage Code. And so it's a 5-step process that I take highly driven women on. And it's really the journey I took myself on, helping women get out of their head and into their heart. I believe that we speak truths and we only speak it from our heart. And so, yeah, helping women break through their societal conditioning, the limiting beliefs, the stories, the patterns that they're in that are really holding them back. And I'm super excited about this topic tonight because, well, first of all, I'm available. So let me just say that. Yeah, I have a whole lot I'd love to share with men about, just being in the dating world. So, I've been married and divorced, and I was a single mom, and yeah, I'm very available today. And so, yeah, I'm in the dating world and seeing the way that men are showing up. And yeah, so I'm super excited to dig into this. But the work that I do, I'm also an energy healer. So I do private coaching and really just I have a background in psychology and a prior career in counseling where I focused on trauma and addiction work. And so I love to incorporate those things into the work that I do as well. But really just helping women get to their truth and really step into their power. So excited to be here.
All right, Amber, your turn.
Ashley, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you amazing women. My name is Amber Kiera, and I like to say I'm 90% blind, 100% old. I actually lost 90% of my visual field throughout childhood, and I've learned how to navigate challenging circumstances with a disability and do it with boldness and courage. And so I use all that I've learned over the many years of having a disability to teach other people how to live life with boldness and courage, no matter what circumstance they are facing. And so I do that through speaking on stages, giving amazing talks that move the crowd. And I also do one-on-one coaching with clients where I help them through that transformation so that they can live the life of their dreams and do it with boldness. I'm 28 years old, single, and as a triple minority, I have a lot to say about this subject, and I'm so excited to, just receive all that everyone else has to share, but to also give all that I can. Thank you for having me.
Very awesome. All right, Daisy, your turn. Your turn.
Who's on mute?
Oh, you're on mute.
Awesome. Hi, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be. Nope, I should be off. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. So thank you so much, Ashley. It's really nice to be here at this round table with all you beautiful ladies and with everybody that's joining us from around the world. I'm Daisy V, founder of the brand Activated Life by Daisy V. I work as a health coach, specifically with moms that have special needs, because very often, obviously, ourselves as number two, and we don't empower ourselves as much as we really need to. And even though we need more because we're doing such a difficult job at home. So I'm very excited to be here. I am happily married with 2 stepchildren, but I see a lot of men out there and the way that they approach women, and I don't think it's really, and there's a lot of women out there that nowadays are courageous, and deserve a lot more respect than they really receive. So I'm glad to be able to share this platform with all of you.
Vanessa, you're on mute too. There you go.
Heyo! Thanks, Ashley, for giving this space for all of us beautiful soul sisters here. And so my name is Vanessa Iverson. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I'm also an energy healing coach. I'm also the creator of the Conscious Clarity Code. And so I help women bring things to their consciousness to heal their inner wounds, to identify what keeps them stuck so they can move on with their lives. You know, I'm all about speaking truth and standing up for injustices, and it's just my jam. I'm happily married as well, and I'm excited to bring to the table the discussion of my experiences, of my perspectives of what a husband can look like. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We got talking?
I was like, okay, my bad. I have this. Okay. I said, I guess I should add. I turn this little light off, right? So I can make sure there's no echo. But yeah, I guess I should put in there that I myself am divorced, but single. Not really seeking single. You know, I think there's two stages of being single. There's like the actively seeking a partner kind of single. And then there's the actively not seeking a partner. I'm just fine by myself right now, kind of single. And that's where I'm at. I'm a single mom and I have 2 kids. So it's, for me, it's my kids and my business, and everything else just falls behind that. But I have been married, and I've been in a wrong marriage, and I've been divorced. So I think that that's where my perspective is going to come out of. And then also trying online dating for like 4 days, which is but anyways, all right. So I'm going to kick this off again, back to what this is, you guys. This is also the question of me. When we're looking at the state of things now with men and being a woman in what's considered a man's world, which we all know is changing now. I would really like it's changing.
I'm sorry. In my world, it's not about my man. I do all of it.
Yeah. And that's what I say. I think it's changing. We're finally getting to being on that more equal grounds. But again, it comes back to having those conversations of where we're at now and where we would like to see things going. So I'm just going to drop this off. What are some of the things that you ladies have noticed in this day and age as far as men come, whether that's like men hitting on you or reaching out to you? And I guess really what I want to say is, what are some of the things that you would like to see start moving away? You would like to see us start moving away from, as far as like how men interact with women. And feel free to jump in, anybody. We're going to just open this up.
Can I just say something? Because I haven't been single most of my life. I was married to my high school sweetheart since when I was 16. We got married when I was 23 and got divorced when I was 34. So I was and then I met my current husband 15 years ago. And that's a story in itself. But I was only single for a 4-month or 4-year period, basically. So I don't know that I have a lot to contribute, but I'm very interested in learning what everybody else has to say. I have a few stories if you're interested about it. I think men definitely need to learn how to approach women better and show that they're not just a piece of meat, because that was my experience in the 4 years that I was single. I literally had a man come up to my girlfriend and I and say something along the lines that he wanted to take her out. She wasn't interested, and she acted like she was my girlfriend. And he said, that's okay. I like, and I won't use the word, it too. And I think we were floored. I thought, is this what being single is about? Like, really, they need to get more polished on how they approach women. But I also think that women need to give space for men to come to feel like they don't have to. Men are more intimidated than we give them credit for. The ones that usually come up to you are probably either too cocky, and there's a reason for that, or they're too they're coming at you because they really are insecure about what you might say. They don't want to be rejected. And I noticed that a lot when I was single. And so they need to learn that women, I walk in a room and I've been told this, you radiate confidence. Well, underneath that is actually insecurity. So I think that's the same thing for men. I think that they just don't know how to be themselves when they find a woman attractive. Again, let's extract the men that are womanizers. Let's not go there. I had plenty of those too. Found out what a booty call was by accident. I was recently divorced and I met a cop, and I was naive as could be. I mean, how much dating experience did I have? And I didn't even know what that, I kept getting told the word BC, and I had no idea what that meant. So my advice to men at this given point, given my experience, is that you just need to show kindness and not try to put your game on somebody. Just go and actually treat them with, I don't know. Again, I don't have a lot of dating experience, but I just feel like the men that approach me have some sophistication to work on, and they need to get past the fear that women are going to reject them, because I see a lot of men don't approach women men are probably that are very nice are afraid to approach women. And that's a bummer. Especially if women are in groups. Men don't like to approach women in groups unless they have kind of a womanizing. That was my experience. So anyways, my 2 cents. Anyway.
So have any of you else, like, have any of you guys?
Yeah, I think also a big issue.
We're breaking up there. Daisy, is that Daisy talking?
Yeah.
She's breaking up.
Go ahead, Ashley.
No, you were just breaking up.
I was trying, but Ashley was talking, so I didn't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think a big part of it is also education, because it's one of the things that, you know, neither men nor women are taught how to really talk to the other sex and approach them if it's in regards to, you know, getting social or even dating. It's just there's a lot of cliches out there that we learn from when you're looking at television or when you're looking at series or whatever, that make everything seem so easy. And women nowadays are so much more empowered, so much more educated, so much more confident than they used to be, that I don't think they're really impressed anymore by just a guy coming up. You know, you've got to actually have an interest in the woman themselves and how they are and who. And that's just something that I think is still lacking from men, because they haven't gotten that far yet, if that makes sense.
But what about the fact that women who are confident, because I hear what you're saying, women that are confident intimidate men in many ways. So
yeah,
how do you have a man who thinks that you're too much for him, or he's afraid you're going to reject him? How do you have that man feel safe approaching you if you're telling us that women are that much more sophisticated?
That's part of the education, though, because that's the same thing, because us women, we had to learn how to become confident as well. We had to learn how to portray that. We had to learn that posture. So just the same way, men should, if it's the man for you, I believe that man should be able to handle you in that sense. I mean, I just, you know, it's got to match somehow as well. If it's the wrong kind of guy that comes up, you already know that, no, thank you, I don't want to talk to this guy anymore if he comes up with a line. And then that's not a bad thing, because for somebody else, that might be the perfect match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an interesting topic for me.
Well, ladies, I want to ask the other three. So what is your experience in this area of meeting men where you feel like they're just going too far, or they're too cocky, or even what are your thoughts on providing a space for men to actually come up and want to interact? Because sometimes I felt that that's a thing. A lot of the men that I talk to, they're like, well, I just really want to go up and interact, but she just seems very, like, not aloof, but just not like she wants to be bothered.
Can I say something, because that's interesting, and I would love to hear from the other ladies. I have girlfriends that are single, and one of my girlfriends is very unapproachable, and she doesn't even know it. And it starts with us. We have to invite them in. We have to show them that we're just as equally interested as they are. If you find somebody across the room that you're interested in, we need to show them that we're interested without throwing ourselves at them, obviously, but to give them the indication it's okay to come over. Because a lot of times women give men the brush off, and the men don't even get a chance to open their mouth because they wear their shoes funny, or they have a funny belt, or they have their hair not right, you know, and we're very critical. Men are too. I'm not going to generalize that sexual statement, but yeah, I think that we need to have an opening for men to come to us sometimes too.
So I got to ask, so Misha and Amber, I wanted to ask, did you say you were single?
Yes, I'm single.
All right, so I want to hear from the two single ladies in here because you guys, the three. Sorry, I know I'm part of this group. I just don't get out a lot, so I'm not the person to ask about like what happens when men hit on you because I get the really cocky narcissist. Not all like I'm not saying that now. That's probably why I'm dating. Or I get the like straight like dick pics to the DMs kind of dudes. So I'm just gonna be real honest. So, what is it in your experience that has been the most I want to say the most the thing that you deal with the most as far as like men and meeting men and just things that you wish would kind of phase out?
Sure. So I have a few thoughts that have come up just from listening to what others have to share. And I think one of the scenarios that I'm kind of imagining based on what people are sharing are like, you know, people being out like at a club or something or a bar or a social event and, you know, someone looking at you across the room and that sort of thing. But I think that some of my favorite, you know, relationships, not that just I've had, but that other people have had are ones that are built and fostered within the sense of community. So maybe you guys go to the same gym or you go to the same church or you're a part of the same yoga crew or whatever the case may be. It's a completely different setting than just you're out at a bar or a club and someone likes the way you look across the room. And so I think those have been some of my favorite friendships, relationships. And if you think about, you know, all of the friendships that you have, whether they're romantic or not, they have most often been built within the context of community or within the context of you both experiencing each other multiple times, you know, within that space. Some of my closest friends are people that I've gone to church with or people that I, you know, went to the same whatever with. So we've experienced each other's presence multiple times. So I think that opens up a door in a different way than just looking at someone across the room and thinking they're attractive. Because, you know, it's kind of like the difference between making a cold call and then like having somebody be a part of your like, you know, business Facebook group for the past 3 years. So I think they're different scenarios, but one thing that has come up for me was just clarifying intentions. So whether it is looking at someone across the room or you guys go to the same gym, like, and you come up to me and you're asking me to go somewhere with you, like, what is the intention? Is it because you think I'm cool and you want to be friends, or because you want to get to know me better, or because you do think that there is something romantic?
You want to learn the word BC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clarifying intentions, I think, is the biggest thing for me, especially because of where I'm at. You know, I live in San Francisco where most people are single because they're so career driven and career focused. It's in Silicon Valley. It's a lot of tech guys. So, you know, clarifying intentions is huge. And once people do that, like, it's like a weight off of your shoulders. You can enjoy whatever type of situation it may be, whether it's a BC or whether it's a thriving friendship or whether it's something more than that. Just be clear.
And I have to ask you, Misha, what's been your experience? Because you talk about being single. So I think I want to dive into that a little bit real quick. And then I want to give the married ladies a chance to talk about like what it's like to find the right man and how that works. But also I want to take one question before we go into that. Jeff says it's a fine dance between women wanting men to be persistent and men feeling like they are stalking. So what are your thoughts? And Misha, I'm going to let you start this actually, because actually Misha and Vanessa, I want to make sure you guys get a chance too. I want your thoughts on what do you feel like is the difference between a man being a persistent and him stalking? Oh. Hello.
Yeah, well, interesting question. What's that?
I was just making sure you can hear me.
Oh, yeah, interesting question. I mean, yeah, I don't even know if I have a lot to add about that. I don't think it's a fine dance between being persistent and stalking. I think they are two very different things. You know, what I would speak to this question as well as just the conversation is just being present. Like what I want men to understand more than anything is just be present and speak your truth. You know, Amber, I couldn't agree more with what you said about intention. You know, if I have a man approach me in public, which by the way doesn't happen my entire life, I've not experienced very much of that. I typically hear that men are intimidated by me. It's the way that I carry myself or whatever. But really, I'm pretty congruent in how I show up, whether that's in a social setting or on this particular platform. I'm more of a listener and an observer. And so I sort of stay back and wait to be called on kind of thing. And I'm happy to speak my truth. But you know, so I'm not really the type of person that's going to go approach a man. I get approached more, you know, on via or through my phone, men messaging me or messenger. And what I always ask, especially if a man wants to meet up with me, is what is the intention here? And oftentimes men get really triggered by that. They get offended by it. You know, and the reality is, like, I'm not going to meet up with a man if I am not crystal clear on what our intentions are. Is this a friendly meetup? Is this, do you have, you know, romantic interest in me? Because if I'm not immediately interested in a guy, I want him to understand that right from the get-go. And men, yeah, I wish that that I had the space and the freedom to speak more freely and for it to be received. So yeah. In terms of the persistence, I definitely want a man who, and I think for women it's different, but for me, I can speak for myself. I want a man to make decisions. I've been, you know, I was a single mom. I raised 3 kids. I've been making as a professional and decisions for a lot of years, and to be like, hey, here's my idea. I'll take you out. Here's where we're going to go. I'd like to pick you up at such and such time. And I'll be like, cool, that works. Or, you know, doesn't work. But to be persistent pursuit of me. And definitely, if I choose to be intimate with a man and, you know, like, then the pursuit changes, like he sort of contracts or whatever, like, yeah, I have a problem with that. So yeah, I want persistence. Stalking is a whole nother story. And I really I don't think there's a fine dance there.
I know, I agree, and I love that you talked about how do we, you know, getting men to be more persistent, because that's what's coming. It seems to be what's coming about as women, especially, and as women are entering more in entrepreneurialism. So we are finally stepping into our truth and our power, and that, I think that can be intimidating. And you touched on something, Misha, about saying what's my intention to a man and men getting insulted. So the thing that I come across a lot is when I do speak my truth and I'm upfront about, like, I always hear about men wanting a woman that knows what she wants, right? I just want a woman who knows what she wants. Okay. Well, then you meet a woman like myself or y'all, and we know what we want, and men get offended by that. They don't, you know, it's like if they want to go hang out, okay, well, why do you want to hang out with me? Well, I just want to hang out. Why does it matter? I just want an answer. Why does it matter? Why is it such a big deal to not give me an answer? But how do you feel? How do you find a way to not dim your own light to make a man feel comfortable? Like, how do we help men rise up so that we're not sitting there having to dim our own light to make them more comfortable? Because realistically, you need to be on equal footing with each other, man or woman. I think it needs to be an equal give and take. So how have you, like Christine, you talked about this, like just being able to be a strong-willed woman and be secure in that, and meeting a man who meets you at that same level? How do you do that balance? You know, because I think that that's something that a lot of women struggle with. It's like, well, maybe do I need to be like less upfront or less abrasive, is a term that I've heard, which I hate hearing women compare themselves to. It's like, do I be less myself? And the reality is, no, you need to be more yourself. You need to be comfortable with being yourself, and you need to find someone who matches that. So how do we step, you know, how do you guys feel that we step into that role to help men step up into their own roles?
I can speak to that. So as someone who got married a little bit older, I was 28 when I met my soulmate. The thing that I'm just going to straight up say is, like, we shouldn't ever have to dim our light for anyone, let alone a man. And if the man can't handle it, that we are stepping in our power and standing up for ourselves. I mean, obviously we can't treat them disrespectfully, but still standing in our power, you know, there's ways to navigate that. And the reason why I'm speaking to that is because I think the biggest thing is to be able to communicate that vulnerability doesn't make a man any less than. And so I think that's what's been the beautiful truth within my relationship with my husband. It's his ability to be vulnerable. It's his ability to show up for me and my kids. It's his ability to be able to talk when we're intimate and being direct on what we both want and need. And there's no shame behind that. It's the ability to be able for him to do the dishes and not feel like he's less than a man. And all that comes back to is the communication and his ability to be vulnerable and his ability to be able to stand up for his wife and be able to let me be who I am, loud and proud, standing up for injustices, and for him to be the support that men need to be able to let go of some of their masculine ego Shiva energy and be able to stand beside us or even a little behind us and be okay with that. That's, to me, the truth. And those men, they do exist out there because I'm married to one.
I think that we have to be, I circle back to some of the things that have already been said, and that is, number one, being present when you walk in a room so that you are clear on what your intentions are for being there, so that nothing kind of shakes you from that or throws you off, so that you can be your authentic self, so that you can attract the right person. But I really do think I am only speaking from my experience, so please don't think that I'm generalizing. But in my experience, there are two types of men. And I live in a small community, so it's not like a big monopoly, you know, not a big city with a lot of different culture. It's pretty black and white, blue collar, female kind of blue collar environment. And I feel that there are two types of men that, again, are looking for the one thing, which is, again, goes back to the BC or sex or intimacy or whatever. You've got that group of men, and you've got men that do, and there is a desire under that at some point that they want to be with a woman, but that's their approach, is that they're looking to get lucky. And so that's their swag when they're coming up to you, and then you kind of are instantly turned off because that's not your intention when you walk in the room. But I think the other one is that there's a large group of men that are very intimidated by our strength. And we need to and it starts with us. We need to let those men know that they don't need to be intimidated. I've read articles about this, and the number one thing they say men are afraid of oftentimes is the rejection. That if they go up to a woman and say, "Hi, how are you?" and try to have a conversation, they're going to get rejected. So that's why I've heard women say that oftentimes when they're with groups of women, they never get approached, because, again, there's a level of rejection that could happen right then and there, and humiliation if he doesn't do it right. So why even approach him? I think we need to be in our space, and we need to be who we are, and we will attract the right person when we do that. So maybe it wouldn't be so complicated to start a conversation. But at the end of the day, we have to teach men it's okay to come to us. Because I really do think that men are afraid that they're going to get rejected, or they're going to get embarrassed, or something's going to happen. Because, again, we expect them to be alpha male, right? Some of you just said that, you know, you would like to have the man take the role of a courtship and kind of pursue and be persistent, because we like that, because we're so strong in our roles at home. But for some men, that isn't something who they are. So we have to show men how, one, we want to be approached, and that we are open to being approached. And we need to be more understanding that they're just as we kind of put men on this certain place, and I oftentimes get corrected because I used to generalize a lot, and my guy friends would be like, no, that's, men are changing. Men want to be more, they have no choice, right? Like nowadays it's new for me because I'm 53 years old. Okay. So I come from a very old school background where there was the courtship of the man and the woman's supposed to wait kind of thing a little bit. I mean, over my years, we've outgrown it, yes, but ultimately that was my upbringing. So I think we just need to allow men to encourage them to come up to us. And I think that that's what we have to teach them today, because in the past, we minimize what they're feeling and how we just assume that they're a certain way because of traditions in the past or whatever. And I think there's a very confusing role with men nowadays. They don't know if they're supposed to be assertive or not assertive. They're supposed to open the door, shut the door. They're supposed to buy dinner or not buy dinner. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of confusion for them, and I have empathy for that. When I met my husband, it was by fluke. And there was an instant attraction, and we're both alpha people. But we have our vulnerabilities, and they're not always the same. And we try to yin and yang each other. But I think we need to start teaching men that it's okay that just because we're strong here doesn't mean they can't be strong over there. And that comes together, and it's safe for you to come up to me. Because again, I've seen it. I've had men ask me out, and I'll say, I'm not interested in dating. And then they instantly get an attitude. Oh, there's something wrong with you then. We got to teach them that we're anyways, that's my 2 cents. We've got to show men that it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to come up to us.
And I like that you say that. So I want to have each of you guys answer this honestly, because this is what it really comes back to and diving into this. So what are some of the things that you want men to know? And I know I talked about what are some of the things that we wish men, that we wish men didn't do, but what are some of the things, speaking either from being single or being married, that you found have been very successful as far as with the man you're with or with the men that you've been with in the past? What are some things you wish men knew so that they can utilize these as tools to come up? And also going back to that holding space, what do you feel that we as women maybe need to do to be able to facilitate the space for men to show up for us? So I'm gonna let you guys, if anybody wants to jump in, what are some of the things you wish men would know that they could show up in so that they could show up for us?
Does somebody want to talk? I can say lots of things, ladies. So I want to respect everybody's space. No. So just tell me.
Yeah, I would love to respond, and I'd actually love to respond in a way of also responding to what Christine said. Like, I hear you, Christine, and I want to acknowledge your perspective. And like, I don't want to teach a man anything. Like, I raised 3 boys. I don't want to be a mother. Like, I don't think it's our job to teach men anything. What I think for me, being a single woman, a woman who shows up very vulnerably and is very capable of setting boundaries and all of that, is that just I guess I would just be curious as to like how are we supposed to teach men that? That doesn't resonate for me, because I do help men understand when men approach me, when I see them get triggered, if I'm like, I'm not interested in you romantically, and I see them get triggered, I invite a conversation. But I don't think it's my role to teach a man anything. Now, if I'm in a committed relationship, maybe we're talking about something different. I'm just curious, what that looks like. But to answer your question about, some of the. Go ahead, Ashley.
No, I think we're on a delay, but no, I'm like that you said that. Yeah. So basically it's like, how do we facilitate not necessarily teach them, but facilitate the conversation? So it's like you said, when we maybe like aren't interested, but so that, we're not just having that stalemate where they're automatically triggered, and then all of a sudden, then we're having like a fight, or we're just, he's calling men, just calling women bitches and stuff like that. Because oftentimes that's what happens, is we have this miscommunication. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we need to be teaching men to do anything, but it's like, how do we facilitate that conversation when that triggering comes up? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things that we go through as women, and it's like, God, if men only knew. It's like, if men just only knew. If I could just tell men, men, don't do this or whatever, and this would help you become more successful. So yeah, I don't believe that we necessarily need to teach and or raise men in that sensibility, but it's like, how do we facilitate that conversation so that when the triggering comes up and there's that opportunity to connect, and potentially, like, for the man to be like, hey, listen, that just doesn't work. I said, I don't want to like date you or whatever, and that's enough. There doesn't need to be anything else after that.
When I say teach, I'm not talking about physically teaching them. Just be clear. What I'm saying is that we as women have to be open to conversation. Yeah, we have to. My experience in dating myself and watching my single friends date and things like that. We oftentimes we shut them out before they even have a chance to come to us. Oftentimes we don't realize our body language is kind of pushing them away, but we have to be open to letting them come to us, and we need to show them through our actions when we walk in a room or we're in a situation who we are, so they even know that that's somebody they want to approach. But I think men are just afraid to approach. I have seen men are afraid to approach women. I've seen plenty of men sit in corners and not know what to do. Of course, not all of them are going to be meant for you to have. Obviously, if you're an assertive person, you want an assertive person, you're going to need somebody who takes that control and comes up to you. But my question is, at what point does that person become a turnoff because now they're too assertive? Where do you find the balance for men? If men are afraid and intimidated, and you don't like that, and you don't think you need to set an example of what, show them how you want to be approached, then what do you do when a man who's kind of assertive and strong and does come to you, and that's a turnoff? Because to me, I'm fine to have somebody give me attention and flirt, but if they come on too strong, I don't like that. So it's really, we're giving mixed messages to men because we want them to be strong and confident, but we also want our own power. So, and I think men are still rising up a lot of men are still rising up to that. They're still trying. And I'm speaking from a different generation, guys. I can't speak to the 28-year-old. I have a 31-year-old son. It's a very different relationship. He cleans house. My husband left groceries for me to put away. It's a very different mindset, the younger generation. So I can't speak to that, but I do think it's our responsibility to tell men what we want. And that starts from, sorry, you heard me knock. Stop. God damn it. Excuse me. Anyways, so I just think that I think what I'm saying is that I think we need to show men what we want, and by teaching them that, we need to show them it. And we show it by the way we show up in a room and being present and all that stuff. And then you attract the right person.
All right. And so ladies, I'd like to know y'all's other thoughts on this as well. On the things that I'd like to know your thoughts on the things you wish men knew, so that we can hold that, there can be that space for men to show up for us in the way we want them to show up.
Can I tell you something funny? When you told me what the topic was, I was thinking along the lines like what my man needs to know I need.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay. And I was like, he needs to know to draw a bath.
That's the question I want you guys to answer then. Is what do we feel we want men to know that we need? And that's actually the question I was meaning to ask a couple questions ago. But yeah. So Misha, if you want to start, and then Amber, and then Daisy, I want to hear everybody's input. It's like, what do you feel are the things that you want men to know that you need so they can show up in that space?
Yeah, same things that I've sort of already spoke to. I want men to know that I need the space to show up in the fullness of who I am, that I have permission to show up in my mess, to show up in my glory, to show up, with whatever I'm experiencing. to be given the space to speak freely, to be vulnerable, to share openly, to be fully expressed, and for that to be not just welcomed and appreciated, but really honored. And of course, I'm going to do that for man as well. And yeah, just to have conscious conversation and yeah, I want my man to adore me and to take care of me, and trust me, I'm fully capable of taking care of myself. But that's just it. Like I've been a single mom for many years. My kids are all now in their 20s, and I want to be taken care of. I have a successful business, and I have a prior successful career, and so I'm not talking in the sense that many men or even women might think, but I want a man to really show up, to make decisions, to take care of me, and to really honor me for who I am. And it starts with giving me permission to show up and be vulnerable and to speak my truth, and for that to be held very tenderly.
Amen. Amber?
I think Misha and I are probably soul sisters. But I just totally am just feeling every word that she just spoke. And I can't stress enough just clarity. Like, to be clear about the intentions is just like, is so huge for me. Like, I want to know if you want to like just be friends forever. That's cool. Like, there's so much value in friendships. I want to know if you find me attractive. I want to know, like, if you think I look, adorable that day. I want to know, like, if you want to hang out, or if you just want to go grab, like, I want to know, and I just want you to be clear. And I want men to know that they have the space and the opportunity to do that and to be clear. And that's just like the biggest thing for me, is clarity of intention. And I just feel like there's a lot of freedom in that. And from that place, we could go forward into a lot of different directions. But, being rooted in clarity for any kind of friendship or relationship just allows people to be themselves. No one has to dim their light. I just want to be clear and in letting everyone know, whether you're a man, a woman, a gender nonconforming individual, you do not have to dim your light for anybody, man or woman. A lot of people say, like, oh, women shouldn't have to dim their light. Well, men shouldn't have to dim their light either. If you're assertive and confident, be assertive and confident. That's who you are. I don't want a man to come to me and not be himself. Just like I don't want any of my friends to have to not be themselves when they're around men. So whether you're a man or a woman, you should not have to dim your light for anyone. Because, sweetheart, baby, if all the lights are off and there's no alignment, then there's no alignment. So everybody needs to keep their lights on, and the right lights will line up together. My grandma said there's a pot for every lid and a lid for every pot. And so just know that you don't have to dim your light for anyone.
Amen. All right. Daisy? I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I so agree with that. I just think, for myself personally, I want the men in my life, or the man in my life in this sense, to know that I'm complicated, and to know that I also am not perfect, and I don't expect him to be perfect. But at the end of the day, if we have that connection, and if we have that respect, and if we have that open communication with each other, you're going to be able to connect on whatever level it is that you want to connect, whether it's even a friendship and it's not an intimate relationship. But if you're open and you're willing to let yourself be vulnerable, men and women equally, the communication will help allow each of us to be ourselves, and allow and flourish in the area that you're supposed to be. So if you're my partner and one day I'm really in a bad mood and the next 5 minutes later I'm super happy, well, you should understand, able to meet me on the middle ground. I don't need to be perfect for you just because you think I should be a certain way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Vanessa.
But does it all stem around the same thing that everyone's saying, which is knowing yourself, be present, and then I'm saying make room for someone to come in, because oftentimes we don't. I mean, is that the general consensus?
Well, let me sorry, who's going to say something?
I think so.
Well, I was just going to say that I feel like, Christine, you're assuming that women are not open to men approaching them, open to having conversation, open. I can only speak for myself and my friends. I invite conversations from all people, whether coming up for you. I don't see that in the people that I know or in myself. I build my entire life, my career, everything that I do off of relationship building. And so I welcome it. I invite it from all people. So,
and I think that that's probably part of the confusion, because we all come from different places. And, and I think it demographically depends on who you attract and where you're at and how you were raised and, the environment you're in. So, like I said early on, I didn't have much of a dating life, but my experience in watching some of the people in my local area is that being open to letting somebody come up to you was kind of an issue for people. They don't know how to make space for that. And then men get intimidated. So I encourage men to come to women and talk to them. And I encourage women to be able to be open to talking to men. So I just think it's just demographically, it's hard to pinpoint it to one specific answer.
All right. And I want to finish off, Vanessa, I wanted you to contribute too, is before we dive into anything else. And what are some of the things you would like men or your man to know so that he can show up best for you?
It's actually something, and this might be sounding some kind of way, but like anything that I wish for, I ask, or he offers. Like, I don't feel like I ever have to be not direct. I don't ever feel like I'm not read well, because everything is facilitated under like a conscious conversation. Now, it wasn't that way right away, but we grew together and learned with that. But if there's one thing that I could always have to sensitive and remind him about, is that I don't need him to fix everything. I don't need him. I just need him to hold the space, and being just completely direct about that. And so if I'm speaking to him or other men, because, a lot of times many men think they need to fix everything, without just being able, no one, even women, a lot of times don't know how to hold the space for people. And so that's probably one of the number one things, is we don't need a fix. Sometimes we just need someone to listen and be with us during the times. And so I would say that's probably one of the biggest things I want men to understand too.
And so this is, I love that. And so this is the one other question I want to ask, because this is really like the main question of the topic. And I really love that we had that dialogue, because again, going back to Christina and Misha, I think there is definitely, it's probably a generational and demographic type situation, because I think the women who are in their 20s to 30s now, we are more accustomed to being more vocal about what it is that we want. So I think with that sometimes comes across as the that double-edged sword that women also fall under, where we're just, don't be too much of this and don't be too much of that. And at the end of the day, we really have to be exactly who we are. And the people you're going to resonate with, you're going to resonate with. And Christine, I understand your part of it, of being able to hold that space so that men can come up to us. But I think what that comes down to is men also, it's not like men have to be able to go up and hold and acknowledge a woman at the level she's at. If a man, I feel, is coming to a woman with, oh, well, she needs to come down to this level or whatever, then he's coming with the wrong intentions. What are his intentions when he comes up to a woman? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like for me, I agree a lot to what Misha says. I hold space for everybody to come up and talk to me. Now, going back to that, what you said about the body language, because there's that part too. I might have resting bitch face on my face and look very unapproachable. Okay. I might be looking like this, and I think I look really nice and approachable, but on the outside I'm just like, because I've gotten that too. So I think that's a conscious awareness on both people's parts, right? What's that intention of why the man is coming? Oh, we lost Stacy. Oh no. And it's also at the same time is like, it's like, how, what is my intention for being there? So I think that that's the equal parts of it. It's like, what's the intention for the man coming to me, but what's my intentions of me being there? Because if I'm going out somewhere to like a bar or something, which I don't do very often, and oh, no, it won't let her back in. There we go. Okay. And what are my intentions for being there? You know, do I want a guy to approach me? That's something I think we have to think about too. Is like when we go out, do we want a man to approach us and stuff like that? So here's the other part. The other question I want to ask: what are some of the things? So we've got a little bit of time left. What are some of the things we wish men would stop doing? Whether that's just like, and I'm not saying changing their personality, but maybe just their approach and how they approach us or how they interact with us. And this can be on a relationship basis, this can be on a partnership basis, this can be a friendship basis. What are some of the things that we just wish men would maybe not necessarily stop, but just not like do that activity? And I'll say this by saying I wish men would not get offended. Like when I say that I just don't want to, and I'll say this from a dating standpoint. I was on a dating app, eHarmony, and this guy came to me and started talking, and we were having a very nice conversation. I said, this is cool. And then when he wanted to go out, I was like, well, I just really came on here to get to know people, to see if I actually wanted to date. He got massively offended. He borderline cussed me out. He said, I don't know why you're on here then. This is for serious people who want a serious relationship. I'm like, holy shit, dude. So I guess maybe that like, oh my God. I wish men would not get so like I don't want to say overly dramatic, but I just wish men would not get so triggered when you are not rejected, but it's like because maybe that's I'm just not there. And instead of blasting me for not reciprocating something that you brought on to me, not something I asked for. I didn't ask you to come like ask me out or whatever. Instead of blasting me for it, maybe go, okay, well, you're not in the space, and let's have that conversation and be good with it. So that's like my thing. I wish men were more open. Like Christine, where you're saying more, we need to like hold that space. I wish men would hold space to have that conversation for, okay, maybe she doesn't want to go out, but maybe we can have a friendship or something else. I don't need to be an asshole about this. So, yeah. So actually,
I actually had a situation that I referred to earlier. I literally I had just had a breakup. It was been like 9 months. It was a hard breakup for me. It was and I was talking to somebody. I actually knew him through work, and we weren't like close at work, but I think we used to work at the same company kind of thing. And when I told him that I wasn't, he asked me out, and I said, well, I'm not dating right now. It instantly went into, what's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with me. Well, that sounds like a story. No, I think that his response was because he felt rejected.
Yeah.
And his pride was hurt.
And
that's something men need to learn in this conversation. Because women are strong in their women are stronger today than they ever used to be. Men need to be less reactive and having their pride hurt because a woman's standing up for who she is and what she wants, and she is saying that. Men don't like that.
Angela said that she relates to Christine's generation because of her age, but being single for 30 years, I agree with Misha and Amber. So before I get everybody's, I'd actually like the single women to what are some of the things you wish men would stop doing? And this isn't, now again, this is not bashing men. I'm not here to do that. But what are some of the things you wish men would be more conscious about not doing when they are pursuing you? And this isn't like, this is not showing up. It's like, what are some of the things that you've come across that you just wish they would not do?
I'll go ahead and answer. And some people might not agree with me, but I just wish men would stop second guessing themselves. I mean, I've got some single male friends, and they're like, I think I want to ask her to coffee, or I think I want to talk. Well, just do it. I just really, really wish men would stop second guessing themselves, because they have a right to, like I said before, not dim their light. And you don't get what you don't ask for, and you don't know until you ask. So of course, everyone should respect each other and respect their space, but don't second guess yourself. You're worthy of asking.
Amen.
And for men and women, both. Yeah.
Misha, do you have, because you said you had some stories, so I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, well, one thing I'll just add, being in this social distancing and stay at home space in our life right now, I have recently gone back on online dating because it's really difficult to meet people. And so, yeah, I see all of these men who have pictures of their masks on their face, like, men, for the love of God, please take your mask pictures off of your online dating profile. I don't want to see that. Like, I can't even comprehend.
What makes you think that's attractive?
It's terrible.
I don't even understand this, but like profile after profile, their mask, like, no, it's not funny. It's not sexy. There's nothing, like, please, for the love of God, get those pictures off. I don't really care to see pictures of your prize deer and your big fish that you caught. Now, that might be attractive to some women. I think it's fair to say it's not attractive to the masses. So yeah, like, if you are on online dating and you can't even put effort into creating your profile, the message that you're sending to me is like, I literally don't even consider you. If you cannot put effort into your profile, how much effort are you going to put into me, into our courtship, into a relationship? So, like, stop just thinking that you're out there because of your picture. Like, I consider myself an attractive woman. And while I want an attractive man, that's not the only thing that I want. And so, put some time and put some effort into your profile. Beyond that, when we start to engage in conversation, like, don't just assume that I'm ready to meet you or go on a date. Like, yes, I read your profile. Yes, if we're having a conversation, there was enough in your profile to make me interested in you. But now it's about, what kind of conversation are you going to have? How are you going to show up in relation to me and conversation? So slow down a minute and be present and take some time. But the other thing, like, Amber, what you shared, I'm 100% agree with. And yeah, just show up and be yourself, and be vulnerable, be willing to say, hey, like, I'm a little bit intimidated by you, and I'm super attracted to you, and I'm super interested in you. Like, let's have a conversation about that, whether it goes anywhere or not. Like, just show up and be yourself. And I left my kid's dad almost 20 years ago. I've been doing this a while. And so, it's evolved. And, but one thing that I definitely see still exists today is men showing up with their one-liners. Like, it's not funny. It's not attractive. It definitely makes me, go the other way. Like, as I believe the consciousness of our planet is raising, like, so does our conversation. And so, be willing to have a more conscious conversation. If you want an intelligent woman, then have an intelligent conversation. If you want a woman who's independent and in her power, then show up and invite that in. So yeah.
I think we have to get past the physical thing. I do. I think people are too busy trying to figure out how they're going to be attracted. The physical, I like her the way she looks, right? And then we don't get, once that doesn't give us the results we want immediately, then we don't go to the next level, which is conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's where men are missing out, is that they're automatically going back to the rejection thing. When they're rejected, they then don't feel that they can hold space to have a conversation because they're instantly feeling hurt or feeling rejected.
And their ego's
And
true.
that's unfortunate, because they come towards you. And I remember doing the dating app thing. I did somebody on eHarmony, met some real toads, but it's all cool. But the number one thing is that there was the initial response was, I'm physically attracted to you. And the minute a woman, and it goes both ways, the minute somebody is not showing that attraction or that immediate response, it instantly stops and there's not room for conversation. And that very well could be a personality that's very tied to what you're looking for, but we can't get past the physical, we don't get past the physical part of it. Am I making sense to that?
Yeah, you are. And so I want to ask the other two ladies in here, because we're going to have to cut this out here in a moment. What are some things that you wish you want to see men not doing anymore? And I know you guys are married, but I know you guys also see the current of men as well. So what are some things you feel that men can let go of so that they can start rising up into that consciousness? Vanessa or Daisy, either one can go. Oh, we're muted.
They're both muted.
I don't know. Hello? Can you guys
You
hear?
guys can hear? I'm wondering if Daisy, oh, there goes Daisy.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, I just think men should stop to generalize women in general. That's what I see. And yeah, I'm not in the dating scene anymore, but I think it's still a lot like what Christine was saying. If they go in a pack, they're difficult to approach. Or when I was single, I used to get a lot of, hey, you're blonde. That means you like to have fun, right? No,
the one-liner.
That just, we're all individual. We're all growing and unique now, and we're all getting so much more empowered. Yeah, I'm fun, but I'm not. No, that doesn't work that way. So I just think that that's something that men really need to understand and learn about, and approach each woman just like we need to approach each man as the individual goddesses that we are, right? And just learn to get to know us, and if we're compatible, great, and not, there's a whole bunch more fish in the sea.
Well, I want to say something really quick because I think this is important. The fact that I think I'm the oldest, am I the oldest in the group here? I think it's really incredible that you women know who you are before you go into a relationship. And I think that if I were to do this all over again, I certainly would have different expectations than I did when I was 16 and when I was 37. So yeah, I think it's great. I think that you guys women know who you are when you're starting a relationship at this point, because I certainly, the number one thing for me, and it's a hard road to get there when you're already in a relationship and you hadn't had that established first. But the one thing I hold to my husband, and I would want for my daughters and everybody else, is that it's how that person makes you feel. And you got to know how you want to be treated, like you guys have all been saying. And I think that I just want to commend women for knowing who they are going into relationships, because I hear a lot of people from my generation, we start out so young that we didn't really know who we were. We pretty much had to really grow up in our relationships. And I feel at 53 years old, it's not about looks. It's not about money. It's not about any of that. It's about how that person makes me feel as not just a woman, but as a human being, like how they hold that space for me.
All right. Well, ladies, we went a little bit over, and I anticipated a little bit, but I think that's also maybe why Vanessa had to get off here. So I was hoping to get her thought, but I want to end this, you guys, on just some like one final tidbit that you feel like you want men to know, just to show up in this space. So I'm gonna let it go now, up top to bottom. So Amber, if you want to start first and just say, like, what is that one last thing that you just kind of want men to know going forward in this, and it's something that they can take away from here to utilize in their own life?
Just be clear and continue to be you. Don't dim your light. Show up. Be clear.
All right. And Misha?
Tell me again, Ashley, the question.
Oh, I want to know if you have any, like, if a man was coming to you, okay, well, can you just give me like one thing that I can take away from this so that I can start showing up in that space of my own power, so I can be that source for any woman that I want to attract or be with? What's that, like, one piece that you would give them to move forward in life? Like, what's that one piece of advice you'd say, hey, listen, this is something that would really help you moving forward as a man wanting to attract an equally powerful woman to you?
Yeah, well, thank you for the clarification towards the end of your question, because what I was initially going to say is a man needs to get clear on what he wants. If you want a booty call, then be clear with that when you approach a woman. If you want, if you're looking for your forever person, be clear with that. But your clarification on the end was saying that what would I want men to know who do want to attract a powerful woman? And I'm right there with Amber, like just show up and be yourself, be vulnerable, and yeah, just be transparent.
All right, Christine, do you have one piece of advice?
That's actually, it's so interesting for me that we're in this, I'm in this dynamic because again, I feel like I just am clueless on a lot of things that are going on out there in the world of dating, and because I have a generational change in the way I think. I just think I agree with both the ladies. I really do. I think in today's modern times, we have to know who we are, and we have to be clear, and we have to be honest, because nobody's tolerating bullshit anymore. And women are getting stronger, and they're saying that they're not going to take this stuff anymore. And so we expect honesty, and we expect them to know who they are when they come to us, because we know, because we're learning who we are. So I think it's great. I think it's great that women are starting to say, we're not just your beck and call, and we're not just here for your physical satisfaction. We deserve more than that. And I think that would be the number one thing if I were in the dating world today, and I am the woman I have become after many years of marriage and dating, the times I did. I would want them to understand that I expect them to treat me a certain way, and and that comes with honesty, and that comes with them being their true, authentic selves as well.
Amen. All right, Daisy, end us off. Oh, can you hear me?
Well, you already said everything that I thought, but I guess a good. Can you hear me? A good final advice would be to be clear and be true to yourself as well on what you're looking for. Not just who you are, but also if you're looking for a serious relationship, then act like a relationship. And if you're just looking for apparently we're calling it now, and be clear on that. And whatever is supposed to happen for you, whatever the universe is supposed to bring to you, that will, the perfect come along. Stand true to yourself.
Amen.
I would be interested, Ashley, really quick to intervene. If you ever did a panel about something that's the opposite, what women need to do to make themselves be more confident in the dating world, and also setting healthy boundaries so they are strong and confident. Because I find that this panel is very strong and confident because they're women who have survived a lot. I'd like to see how we can help encourage women who are not feeling so confident and strong to be confident and strong in the dating world, because oftentimes women are prey. You guys, I'm really happy to see that you all are very strong and confident women. I think that's just fantastic. But I also know and I was one of them, there's a world out there of women who are lost, and they need to find their way, and they need to find their confidence as well. And they need to know what they need to do to make sure they attract the right partner.
Amen to that. So that is a future episode, but we do have to cut this one short. So I really appreciate all you ladies coming on and also staying on about a little bit longer than normal. So I do appreciate all of you being on here. And I will say I agree with everything that y'all have said. I think it's just important that men be open for their own vulnerability, be open to allow their true selves to come out, because by them being able to hold space for themselves, that's what's going to allow them to hold space for us. And being that we are these confident, empowered, amazing powerhouses of women, we don't need men that are going to dim their light or try to dim our light as well. So men, I would highly encourage you to really look within yourselves so that you can get clear on who you are and what are your intentions for life and the person that you want with you. And then that way it goes both ways. That way you can attract the person you want, and you can be open for that connection to be started. So that's like my little tidbit. But I want to thank you ladies so much. I appreciate all your inputs so much. This was very awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate meeting you. And some of us are friends already on Facebook. For thank you for reaching out to me. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the social media platform.
Yes, I appreciate it, and thank you guys. I'm gonna let us all get off here. I know we have lives to get back to. So, as always, you guys, every Tuesday and Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys will join us next this Thursday for a story episode, and I look forward to